Hello, happy Friday. So I'm going to post this video at 5 p.m. today because then the test will shut off and no one will be able to take the Unit 7 test anymore. And so this video is going to help all those who failed it or all those who want a higher score. This is going to help you to understand what your mistakes were and how to complete the problems or understand the problems, okay? So number one, x minus 3.2 is less than or equal to 4. So remember, your goal is to isolate the x. So what that means is you need to get the x by itself. So if you have x minus 3.2 is less than 4, what's the only number, if you have negative 3.2, what's the only number that you can add to negative 3.2 on a number line to get you to 0? 3.2. Remember 0 pairs? We talked about 0 pairs. So if you have a negative 3.2 or subtract whatever you want to say, minus 3.2, do the opposite, okay? So these are some opposites. So you would know opposite signs. If you see subtraction, addition goes with it. If you see division, multiplication, okay? So if you see subtraction, your only option is to add. If you see division, your only option is to multiply. Those signs go together. So since we had subtraction, the only option was to use addition. We have to isolate the x. So negative 3.2 and a positive 3.2 equals 0. So then all you're left with is x, and you bring your sign down, and what you do to the left, you have to do to the right, because it has to balance and stay equal, okay? Now think of this like money. So 4 is really $4, and you're going to add 3.2 because that's what you did to the other side. And now let's go ahead and add. And so you have 7.2. So x is less than or equal to 7.2. Now, if x is less than 7.2, let's go find 7.2 on the number line. So this sign right here, is this 7.2? Is 7.2 between 0 and 1? No. 7 is between 6 and 8, right? So we already know that A is not it. Okay, next. This dot is on between 7 and 8. I mean, between 7 and 8, my bad. I was thinking of two whole numbers, 7 between 6 and 8. 7.2 is between $7 and $8. Think of it like money. So this dot is between 7 and 8, yes. And it's on the 2 little tally mark. This dot is, yes, and this dot is not. It's between 0 and 1. 7 is not between 0 and 1. Whenever you have decimals, think about money, okay? So we know it's not A and D. Now, let's go back so that we can see which one is the correct one. So x has to be less than or equal to 7.2. So we have a closed circle because it can be equal. Which direction are the numbers going to be less than 7.2? Some examples are numbers less than 7.2, 7.1, $7, $6, $5, $4. So in which direction are those numbers from the 7.2? They are to the left. Numbers to the left are less than the numbers to the right. So your answer should have been C for number 1. Number 2, which number line represents the solution to the inequality below? 3.2x is greater than 16. Remember, when you do not see a sign, there's an invisible multiplication in between the 3.2 and the x. Okay, so that's multiplication. It's really 3.2 times x. All right, so remember what I said a moment ago. If you see subtraction, it's addition. If you see addition, the opposite is subtraction. Now, if you see division, the opposite is multiplication. If you see multiplication, the opposite is division. So, going back to this particular problem, 3.2 times x is greater than 16. What's the operation? It is multiplication. So what is the opposite of multiplication? It's going to be division. So 3.2x is greater than 16. Now remember, you have to get x by itself. So in order to get x by itself, you do the opposite operation. Get rid of that 3.2. 3.2 divided by 3.2, it cancels out. It's 1. So you have 1x. Bring your sign down. 16 divided by 3.2 is 5. So x is less than 5. So let's go to the number line so we can match that up to our equation. So F is the circle open. Yep, because that's our sign, less than. It doesn't have an equal sign, so your circle's open. Well, all the circles are open. For F, it's on the 5. That's correct. G is on the 5. H, is 5 between 12 and 13? No. So that dot is not on the right. Is not on the right number on the number line. It does not match our inequality statement. J, 5 is not between 12 and 13, so it's not J. So it's either F or G. So let's read our inequality statement again. X is greater than 5. So what numbers are greater than 5? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So if you look at 5, are the numbers to the right of 5 greater or to the left? So I would look at F, and it's going to the right. 6 is greater, 7. And look at G, it's going to the left. 4 is not greater than 5, so I know it's not G. So your answer should be F. Okay, number 3. Same thing we just did. We have 2x greater than 90. Since this is multiplication, you're going to do the opposite. You have to get rid of the 2 so that you can isolate the x. Bring your sign down. 90 divided by 2 is 45. So x is greater than 45. So your answer should have been C. Okay, next we have 4x less than or equal to 72. These are all the same. This is multiplication. You have to do the opposite. So you have to divide by 4. So you can cancel out your 4s. Now you're left with x. X is less than or equal to 72 divided by 4 is 18? Yes, 18. So your answer should be x is less than or equal to 18. And your answer should have been F. Remember, you do the opposite operation. The only operations that go together are subtraction and addition. So if you see subtraction, you do addition. And division, and if you see addition, you do subtraction. Division and multiplication. If you see multiplication, that means you do divide. If you see division, that means you multiply. And you only move the number on the same side as the variable. Okay, you only move that number. All right, number 5. Leon has a goal of walking at least 18 miles. So I'm going to put 18, and I know in the middle, the sign is going to be at least. She walks at a rate of 4 miles per hour. 4, and remember the word per is multiplication. So 4 per, and then the variable they're using is an H. So 4H means 4 per hour. Which inequality can Leon use to find H, the number of hours she should walk in order to meet or exceed her goal? So at least, if you look at your notes, the notes for test, it will tell you which direction your sign should go. If it has to be at least 18, that means it can equal 18. Can it be under 18? No. It has to be at least 18. So it could be 18 or higher. So that means 4 times H can equal 18, or it can be higher. So this should be your answer, okay? Remember to use the notes. Notes for test, it's in the top of the module because it's in the module closer to the top. It will help you because it will specifically tell you which way your sign should go. So 4 miles per hour is greater than or equal to 18. Number 6, x over 16, that's division, that's a fraction, is less than or equal to 6. So this is the way that I would do it. I would say X divided into 16 groups is less than or equal to 6, okay? So I have to match up this inequality statement with one of the situations below. So I'm going to read F, and if the sign does not tell me less than or equal to, then I know that's not going to be the right one. Jamal divided X pieces of paper. Okay, so that's X among 16 students. So X divided by 16, and each student received fewer than 6 pieces of paper. So fewer than is this sign, but does that match this sign? No, it's not F. Okay, erase this, let's do G. Jamal placed X cards into 16 stacks, and there were no more than 6 cards in each stack. It can't go over 6, but it can be equal. So does this inequality statement match the example? Absolutely. So we're going to come back to it just to make sure, okay? So let's read H. Okay, H says, Jamal separated X shirts into 6 stacks, and each stack had at least 16 shirts. Does this inequality statement match the example? No, because we're dividing by 16 in the example, but this one we're putting it into 6 groups versus 16 groups like the example. Okay, so we know it's not H. Okay, let's read J just to make sure. Jamal shared 16 markers with X classmates, and each classmate had fewer than 6 markers. So 16 broken into X groups, and this does not match our example. So your answer is G. Okay, number 7. We've already done these. Divide by 4, X is less than or equal to 12. Number 8. So now this is where you're going to substitute. Which inequality is true when X is 4? So wherever you see X, we're going to have to replace that with the number 4, okay? So let's look at F, and I apologize, it's a little blurry, but. So we have a negative 25, X is greater than 100. So remember, this is multiplication, so 25 times X is greater than 100, negative 25 times, instead of X, we have to put a 4. You have to substitute the variable with whatever number is in the question, okay? So it's saying that X equals 4. And is that greater than 100? Well, a negative times a positive is a negative. Is a negative 100 greater than a positive 100? Absolutely not. A negative number will never be greater than a positive number. So guess what? We know G is not it because it's saying that a negative 25 times 4 will be greater than or equal to 100. That's not correct. Okay, let's look at H. So H is saying 25, 25x is less than 100. So 25 times x is less than 100. 25 times 4 is less than 100. 100 is less than 100. 100 can be less than itself. So we know that H is not correct, okay? It's like saying $1 is less than $1. No, they're equal. Hence our answer. So this one, because it has an equal sign, that's correct. Because 100 is equal to 100, okay? So basically it's saying that that X can be 4 because 100 can't equal 100. So your answer is J. Okay, last but not least. Now this is something that we've gone over from the beginning of school, maybe about September. Okay, Dylan spent $14 of the $25 in his wallet. So he had $25, but he only spent 14. So it's asking you to make a fraction of that, part over whole. So what is his total? His total money is 25. And when you make a fraction, where does the total go? At the bottom. Now, out of the $25, how much did he spend? 14. Which decimal, so we have to make a decimal, which decimal below represents this fraction? That's all it's saying, is which one of those decimals represents this fraction. So you convert fraction to decimal, and you divide 14 divided by 25. Remember, the numerator always goes on the inside. Okay, 25 cannot go into 14, so dot, dot, 0. 25 can go into 140. 5 times 125. 15, bring your 0 down. How many quarters make $1.50? 6, so your answer should be C. Now, some of you guys like to scale. That's perfectly fine. You can find your answer that way. If you know how to scale your denominator to 100, if possible, then 25 times what number? It's 100 times 4. Same thing here, times 4. So then you would get 14 times 4 is 56. 56 hundredths, the way you say it is the way you write it. 56 hundredths. So you can get the answer either way. Okay? And that's it. So good luck on the retake. Once you're done watching this video, you need to send me an email, and I will verify that you've watched this video on YouTube and that you are ready for the retake. And I will release the retake only to you. I can do that to individual students. So once you watch this video, send me an email, taffany.simmons@redoakisd.org, or just go to Canvas and you can send me an email and I will get it. All right, thank you guys. Have a great weekend. I know you're gonna pass this one. So work really hard, take really good notes, and you're gonna do fine. All right, bye.